Hey everyone, this is Mr. Gaking, and I am here today to show you my favorite AI tool. Most of you who are watching this are using this for my Computing Foundations class. So I've opened up notebook.google.com, and this is Gemini Notebook, which only about 2 weeks before I recorded this video was known as Notebook LM. They just changed the name of it. Gemini Notebook is an example of a RAG model, a Retrieval Augmented Generation model. What that means is it is an AI chatbot that you can train with a library. The library will be used as the first source of material for answering the prompts that you put into the chatbot. It also can create documents and do all kinds of things like that, like any other typical large language model that you use, like ChatGPT and things like that. It's just always going to use your library first. And what's great about this is your chatbot becomes an expert on whatever you decide to train it on. So you can see I have a couple notebooks here that are experts on different things that I use in my daily life. I have celiac disease, and I know a lot of people who struggle with that disease. So I made a chatbot based on that. And I loaded in medical studies and online resources for people who have that disease that are like freely available online. So when you ask it a prompt, it will give you information that's based on medical expertise to help you with what you're struggling with. I created a notebook for my favorite video game, Football Manager. There's a lot of complicated strategies in that game. I loaded in some game guides from different websites, some YouTube tutorial videos, things like that. And I've kind of made this notebook into an expert on that topic. And I can ask it a question about something that I'm struggling with in the game, and it will give me tips. And it will cite the sources and show me where it got this information from in the various sources that I gave it. This one that I created here that I want to talk about for a few minutes, I teach percussion with some marching bands and indoor percussion groups and things like that. And I have about 20 years worth of resources that I use regularly for that. I loaded all those in here, and I can ask this questions and have it help me prepare rehearsal plans and things like that. Part of the reason I wanted to bring this one up is to talk about a couple issues that do come up when we use AI. One of them is the question of copyright. Some of the materials I've loaded into here are copyrighted. They're either books that I purchased or there are classes that I paid for. Do I have permission to use them in this way? There are certain permissions that you get when you do purchase something like a book. So if I purchased all of these materials, I have permission to use them as I need to. The type of use I'm using these for is nonprofit and educational use. So I am able to use them in this way. Now, where I start breaking copyright law is if I decide to share this notebook with other people. Let's say I go into one of my online communities of other percussion instructors and I say, hey, everybody, use this chatbot. Now I just violated copyright law because I shared a bunch of copyrighted materials that I have permission to use with other people who did not pay to use those materials. So that's where we cross the line with copyright. The other issue that comes up a lot with AI are issues of hallucinations and inaccuracies and things like that. If you just ask a generic chatbot, if I open ChatGPT and I just ask it a question, it's going to search like the whole internet in this massive training library for information and find all kinds of things. That introduces some biases. It introduces potential for hallucinations because it may see a lot of inaccurate information that people have posted to Reddit, and it uses that to try to answer the question, right? A RAG model can reduce some of that by encouraging the chat bot to stay in its lane, right? To stay in this area of expertise and to only trust the experts that I've trained it with. However, if I open up one of these sources that I use here, so I loaded in articles from the Percussive Arts Society, from their journal. And the problem with that journal is you can see on here, for example, there's an advertisement right there. So I'm actually including advertising in the training that I put into this bot. That's potentially introducing material that the bot could misinterpret or not understand. The same goes for if you upload some podcasts or YouTube videos into your bot. Sometimes those types of programs are interrupted by ads or have ads embedded within them where the person who's giving a tutorial video, for example, or airing their podcast interrupts their own program to talk about some product that they sponsor or endorse. And so now you've introduced that into your training. The bot doesn't necessarily know how to filter that out and whether or not that information has the same value as the rest of the content. So those are some ways that you could still introduce inaccuracies or hallucinations and get some weird responses out of it. So now we're going to create our own new notebook. And so pick something that you're interested in. And the first thing it's actually going to ask you to do before you do anything is to start loading some resources in to train your model. So I'm going to create a model for Avon teachers. And I'm going to use some specific materials that our teachers are already using in our classrooms to enhance what we can do. So I'm going to pull up a folder here. The first thing I'm going to load in is this document that I already created here. I used the Scanner Pro app on my phone, and I scanned all of my notes from all of my professional development meetings and all of the handouts from all those meetings. It's a 91-page document, and it's now being loaded into my model to train it. So it's already training it with the wisdom of Mr. Shockley and Dr. Lewis and our other folks at Avon High School who are doing things to help our teachers be more effective in the classroom. I'm also going to load a couple other sources in here. We use John Hattie's research on, it's like meta-analysis of different instructional strategies and how effective they are in the classroom. It's a very valuable resource, so I'm going to load that in there. And I'm going to load in Dr. Wyndham's favorite book, Focus, Elevating the Essentials, which is about the professional learning communities model. And then I'm going to, let's just use those 3 resources for now. So Gemini Notebook has now just finished uploading all those, and those are now in the training library. So let's ask it a question. Not the best prompt, but we're working kind of fast here. Let's just see what the model does. This will be a good way to test out and see what kind of stuff it comes up with and how it uses the resources that we loaded in. Teacher clarity and learning targets. Look at that. It's telling us to use claim evidence reasoning, CER. The students are just going to love this lesson so much. At jigsaw activities, lots of things we commonly use here at our classes. So within a matter of minutes, we've trained this thing to be a teaching assistant for Avon teachers. And that's how powerful this tool is. So now choose something that you are interested in, whether it's your favorite video game or your hobby or things that you have to manage in your daily life or a class that you're taking at school or something you need to do for your job. Load some resources into it, and now you've just created your own personal assistant that can help you with that. And if you are in my Computing Foundations class, once you've done that, take a couple screenshots of what you've done with your using the chatbot to prompt it and having resources loaded in, and make sure you upload those to my class for your Unit 1 project so I can see what you have accomplished with using this amazing learning tool.